Have you ever wondered why humans care so much about fame? Even people who say they don't want it still feel drawn to it. Something inside us reacts strongly when we see attention and praise. This story explains why. When we see famous people online, it feels exciting. Our brain starts imagining, what if that was me? That small thought is where the chase begins, and most people don't even notice it happening. The first time we get likes or attention, it feels powerful. It triggers a reward in our brain. We feel seen, valued, and important. That feeling is addictive. We don't just want attention from others. We also want to see ourselves as important. So we start shaping an online version of who we are, a version that looks more successful and more loved. As numbers grow, we start caring more. Followers, likes, views, they become a measure of worth. Slowly, we begin to depend on them emotionally, and that changes everything. But the moment attention drops, something strange happens. We feel empty or ignored. Even silence starts to feel uncomfortable. That's when fame begins to control us. So we try harder. We post more, work more, and push ourselves constantly. It feels like running on a treadmill that never stops. The goal keeps moving further away. Then comparison begins. Someone else always looks more successful, more loved, more popular. And suddenly, our own progress feels small. This is where insecurity grows. We scroll endlessly trying to feel better, but instead, we feel worse. More pressure, more anxiety, more doubt. Fame starts feeling less like success and more like stress. At some point, we begin to lose clarity. We don't know who we are without attention. The mirror of fame starts to crack our identity, and we begin to question everything. Even alone, we think about being seen. We check our phone constantly. We wait for validation. It becomes part of our daily life. But then something amazing happens. One post goes viral. Suddenly, attention floods in. It feels like everything is finally working. For a moment, it feels like success. People notice you, admire you, and follow you. That feeling is powerful and unforgettable. It feels like validation at its highest level. But after the excitement fades, something feels missing again. The happiness doesn't last long. It fades faster than expected, and we start wanting more. This is how fame becomes a cycle. More attention leads to more desire, and more desire leads to more pressure. It never truly stops. Even when people finally become famous, it can feel lonely, because attention doesn't always bring connection. Sometimes it only brings expectation and pressure to stay relevant. The image we chase online is not always real. It is filtered, edited, and shaped for approval. But we forget that while chasing it, and that creates confusion inside us. At this point, many people start questioning the chase. Why am I doing this? Becomes a real question. And that question changes everything. It opens the door to awareness. Before fame, life was simpler. We didn't measure ourselves by numbers. We just lived, learned, and enjoyed moments. That version of life still exists inside us. We often forget that real joy comes from connection. Helping others gives deeper satisfaction than likes ever could, because it creates real human meaning, not just digital attention. When we step away from constant validation, we start thinking clearly. We hear our own thoughts again, and we begin to understand ourselves better. That is the beginning of peace. It is not about rejecting fame completely. It is about not depending on it, because your value does not come from attention. It comes from who you are. When you focus on creating instead of impressing, everything changes. Work becomes meaningful again, not just a race for approval, but an expression of yourself. Recognition is not bad, but it should never be your goal. It should be a result, not a reason. Otherwise, it controls you instead of motivating you. When you stop chasing approval, something powerful happens. You become more stable inside, less affected by opinions, more connected to your purpose. Peace does not come from being seen by everyone. It comes from understanding yourself and accepting who you are, even without applause. Now your goals become clearer, not to impress, but to grow. not to be famous, but to improve. That shift changes your entire mindset. You begin to care more about impact than attention, about helping people rather than pleasing them. And that brings deeper satisfaction, something fame alone cannot give. Life feels lighter when you stop chasing constant validation. You realize you were never empty. You were just distracted by noise, comparison, and pressure. Fame can come and go, but your true value stays the same. The real goal is not to be seen by everyone, but to see yourself clearly.